In this video, I'm going to show you two sharpen options that I use in Photoshop all the time. Now, there are other sharpen methods and options that are available, but these are the two that I personally use and enjoy the most, and I find that they have the most realistic and natural looks compared to some of the other ones. So the first one I like to use is I like to use a high pass option. Now to create your high pass sharpen, all you need to do is select that background and then duplicate the layer. So let's do a Control J or Command J if you're a Mac user. And now we need to go to Filter and choose Other and then choose High Pass. So this will open your high pass panel. With your high pass window open, you need to go ahead, and I like to look at around the nose area or even in the eye area. This will allow me to decide how strong of a radius I need to select. Now I'm going to go to a very high radius just so you could see my example. With this high radius selected, you can already see some haloing around the image and around the little girl. If you do this and you create this with this strong of a high pass, you will see a halo in your image. Don't choose a high pass at this high of a pixel. You basically want to make sure that your items or your object has a sharper line around it. It's basically embossing that image. So just choose a high pass pixel that will start to bring those sharpened edge or those contrasting edges for it. So I think about a 2 pixel will do, and this will give me a very natural look. I'm going to go ahead and choose OK. Now with your layer with that high pass filter on there, all you need to do is go over to your layer panel, drop down and choose overlay. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can see the difference, and I'm going to zoom in on the eye, and I'm going to toggle on and off. So this is without the high pass filter and this is with the high pass filter on, and you really can see and notice the difference there. You'll also notice that her pores are a little more noticeable, so all you really would need to do there is go in and create a mask, grab a black paintbrush, select a soft round, decrease that size, and just brush over those pixel areas, and it will soften these edges back up. Now this is if you don't want to go in and do a lot of editing on an image. I don't like to edit a lot of images of younger children or young adults because I like to keep them in their natural state. So they may have flaws, but everyone does, and that's okay. So again, this is without that high pass filter, and this is with that high pass filter. Okay, so I want to show you how bad this haloing can be if you go too high with your pixels. So let's go ahead and delete this layer. Go to Control or Command J to duplicate it. We're going to go up to Filter, Other, and High Pass again, and we're going to bring this up to about 30 pixels. Choose OK, and go to Overlay mode. As you can see, there is a very noticeable haloing around the image. I also think that this looks really fake. So you could use this at this high of a strength and then mask, but you'd be doing a lot of masking. So I personally prefer to keep that at a very low pixel and just bring in a very light sharpen, and it'll keep it more natural. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this, and I'm going to zoom in. Let's go back on the eyes again because that's the best place to see where it's sharpening, and we're going to do an Unsharp Mask. Now we just need to go up to Filter, Sharpen, and choose Unsharp Mask. As you can see, there's a lot of additional options in this Sharpen filter. I only want to talk about the Unsharp Mask though. So we're going to click that, and we can come over here and zoom in on the eye and see the eye as well, and we can toggle on and off of the preview. So on your sliders with your Unsharp Mask, you will see the amount, radius, and threshold. Now your amount, of course, is how much is being controlled or selected with the Unsharp Mask, and it's affecting the contrast in the image. Your radius, however, is how many of the pixels around that area is being affected as well. Now your threshold, however, is basically how sharp all the pixels will be in the image. So for example, the areas that are in the non-contrasting section, which would be maybe the skin and even the blue over here, you do not want these areas as sharp as the eyes or the edges. So the threshold is what that option is. That's what it's selecting. It's selecting how much of the area is going to be defined and sharpened based on the other sliders. Now, your radius and your amount work hand in hand together. So if you change one, you pretty much have to change the other. So if you increase your radius, you need to lower the amount, and if you increase your amount, you need to lower the radius. So that's just a good tip to keep in mind when you're using your Unsharp mask. The best tip I can tell you to do, however, with this tool is just to play with the sliders and see what looks best for you and your image, because every image will be a little different. So let's go ahead and raise the amount up. And I'm going to increase the radius a little bit, but I normally never bring it above 3 pixels for people or portraits. And the threshold, let's bring the threshold up just a little bit so we make sure that the skin tones remain softened or softer. Okay, now I can toggle on and off of my preview by either using the P key or selecting the check mark here, and this will show you my before and after instead of going over here and using it over here. So as you can see with these settings, it already sharpens the image and the eyes up. And I really like that. I can bring this up a little bit more if I want, but I don't want to do it too much because I don't want haloing and I don't want it to look unnatural. So let's go ahead and choose OK and look at that. And that's not too bad. It really sharpens and makes all the edges just a little bit more crisp. And this is what I do to a lot of my final images. When I create a composite, I will save that JPEG file, and then I will either do an Unsharp mask or I will do a high pass sharpen on this final image before I save it. So that's all I do, and if you have any questions, just let me know.